This episode is brought to you by the MJ family of companies. Whatever interests you in the cannabis community can be found at MJ.com. Unique and original content updating you on the latest trends in marijuana legalization, businesses and executives that are disrupting the industry, along with recreational entertainment and the latest deals on the brands and products you love. Visit MJ.com today. Welcome to the Pot Live Podcast. I'm your host, Lenny G, and I can't believe it. We've already broken through 100 episodes. We want to thank you, the listeners, thousands of you that have sent beautiful comments, beautiful notes to us. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoy it. This next year, we're going to bring you the thought leaders, entertainers, trailblazers, CEOs of all the cannabis companies you want to hear from. People that are inventing new products, people that are bringing this cannabis industry to the mainstream. We are going to offer you education, value, and entertainment. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. And we are back, the Pot Live Podcast. I'm your host, Lenny G, and today we have a special and unique guest, also a friend of mine, Mr. Mark Jackson. He is the founder of InvestorComps.com. We're going to learn about that. He also has American Discount Home Deals, and he's active in 10 states, also in the territory of Puerto Rico. Mark, welcome to the show.
Len, it is an absolute pleasure. I love that moniker, Lenny G. That's good stuff, man.
It's a little catchy name I use, Mark.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You got it. So tell us a little bit about the couple of companies that you're working with. But first, I want to get into that. But first, let's hear about a background. Who is Mark Jackson? Where'd you come from? How did you become a business success that you are?
Well, first and foremost, love the Lord. When I got up this morning, I was still married to my lovely bride, Lynn. A dad of 5, got a couple of extended generations there. Beautiful 3 grandsons, a granddaughter. But I started really, really early. I really did. And I presently live in Salt Lake City, but I originally hail from the Jersey coast.
You've got the whole country captured right there. All right. So
just about.
I can vouch for you that you're an all-around great guy. We know each other for several years now, but you're doing something really cool with InvestorComps, with an event you have coming up in Puerto Rico, and we're going to tie that into the cannabis industry for our listeners out there, whether you're a business owner, investor, whatever you might be. But let's go back again. Give us a little background of how you got into the business world and what kind of businesses you've been involved in for the last few years.
Yeah, sure. So, went to college, got 2 degrees, did the corporate thing. And frankly, Lynn, you get to a point where you realize that you have a greater worth than what the annual review says in your 4% increase and, your insurance benefits for vacation would be. And that became really frustrating. And back in, I guess it was 96, I was actually buying my first home and sitting at the closing table, there was this 20-page document with pictures and data and all in it. And I just finished my accounting degree. And so I was looking at one of the pages that had all these numbers and stuff on it. And I started doing the ratios in my head from my accounting work. And that turned out to be the square footage adjustment between the home I was buying and the comparable sales that were kind of on the same street. And then I looked at the paper and it had the images of the house I was buying and then the other comparables. And they weren't taped to the paper, they were on the paper. And for me, I'm a gadget guy. I've been buying, calculators, phones, whatever the case, even back then. And so it told me that those images were taken with a digital camera. And Len, I didn't need a reason to buy a digital camera. I needed an excuse, okay? And so seeing it on the paper, I was like, this is amazing. And then, like I said, it was 20 pages of legal paper. And so all the data about the property that I was buying, the comparables, they were moved all around. And my minor happened to be in computer information systems. And so that told me, by looking at it, was database software that was moving all this stuff around. So I turned to my wife and I said, I have absolutely no idea what this is, but I know that I could do it. And so our realtor explained it. What I was looking at was the real estate appraisal. And that's what the bank used to establish the value so we could actually get our conventional loan to buy the house in the event that there's foreclosure and forth. So for me, it was literally a divine intervention moment. And of course, I took immediate action and waited 3 years to get fed up with my job and everything. But that appraisal thing was always in the back of my mind. So December of '98, Christmas, I decided 3 years later, I'm done. I'm leaving corporate. I'm going to go to appraisal school. And whatever this thing is, I'm going to be a success at it. I'm just going for it because the vision is already there. And that's pretty much how it panned out. Everything that's happened since then, even to our engagement, the good fortune for us to meet, to have the opportunity to invest capital in MJ.com and watch how that's grown and taken off, has all been a result of sitting at the closing table, some literally 20 years ago. It's just been phenomenal. So InvestorComps, after going through my appraisal career, owning a company, building it up, the short story is the average appraisal company, Lynn, is 1.2 people. It's the appraiser and that's about it. Well, gift the gab, communicating, developing business. It took me about 18 months to get registered, go through the apprentice process, get licensed, and hang out my own shingle. And so I opened my firm with 6 other registered appraisers and an office staff. We did, in the appraisal world, again, it's about $300 in appraisal. And we did $24,000 worth of appraisal in the very first month and just never looked back. When I sold my company in '04, it was me as a certified residential. I had a full office staff, 3 other licensed appraisers underneath me that were doing the reviews for the other 28 contractors that we had. And so it was a phenomenal way to move forward, transition out of there at the height of real estate before the crash came in '07, '08. And what I discovered was my own desire to start doing some real estate investing because, as an appraiser, you go, not Mr. Loan Officer, Mr. Mortgage Broker, whatever. Can I get an appraisal, please? Can I do your appraisal? And so you make, $300 or whatever the case may be on an appraisal. But what's nice is that the loan officers then introduce you to other loan officers or even investors. Well, you get to meet these investors, and now you're doing appraisals for like $650 because you have to do an income schedule, you have to do rent schedules, and you feel pretty good about yourself now until you go to get your check from the title company and you see the investor made $15,000, $25,000, $35,000, and you made $650, realizing that they couldn't have done that deal without your valuation knowledge and everything you put into it. So I was like, I got to be an investor. Okay, I got to do this. But the big advantage I had was no one had to tell me what the value of the property was. I could always analyze that for myself. I never had to rely on anyone that maybe might have wanted to blow some smoke at me in terms of a deal. I could do that on my own. And InvestorComps was the creation from all these investors that I work with that wanted to have the same data, the same knowledge and training that I had organically by being an appraiser. And over time, InvestorComps, we've served customers both first domestically and then internationally. We've got clients in Italy, Canada, Australia, Israel. It's been more than I could have ever dreamed of. And so we just continue to provide real estate valuation data and training, again, across the web. And the unique thing about it, Len, it gives people a real feeling of confidence and sense of control that they know that they're going to make a profit when they buy on every single deal that they do. And there's a lot of joy and satisfaction that comes from that. The only other thing I do is my own real estate portfolio. America's Discount Home Deals is basically the proof that taking a valuation first approach works. We've done deals in America's Discount Home Deals in literally over 20 states. Presently, we have holdings in 10 states, plus most recent, just in the last year, in 2020, we started acquiring multi-family homes, triplexes, quadruplexes, some single-family homes that we're using for Airbnb, stuff like that, in the territory of Puerto Rico. And I love those properties because, one, they're all masonry construction. I don't have to worry about shingled roofs and tile roofs. It's just all concrete. And there's no HVAC systems in the homes. You don't have to have any heat or air. You just have fans or maybe window units. And because of the temperature being so mild and the breezes and stuff. So it cuts down on your holding costs, but you're able to have just a substantial way to provide really good, affordable housing to the local citizens of San Juan and Condado and Bayamon. And I'm gonna tell you, it is a wonderful place to visit too. I mean, I love going there. There's great golf, there's great food, the beaches are amazing. They have a rainforest. This life that has been created from being at the closing table, becoming an appraiser, then becoming an investor, having the kind of capital that I have the capacity to deploy in something as special as MJ.com to be able to market in the cannabis industry has, again, it's been more than I could have ever dreamed of. It really, really has.
Well, that, my friend, is a beautiful journey and a perfect segue to an event you have coming up this summer, part of your Go Higher Mastermind for InvestorComps. I want you to tell me about that and how, if I'm a cannabis owner, and you know that we own several assets in the cannabis industry, but no matter what the business is, whether it's a brick and mortar, whether it's an online e-commerce shop, whatever the business is here, can you tell our listeners what the benefit of utilizing the Puerto Rico tax advantages can be for them?
You know, this was like just, it was, you know, it's that kind of thing where you have a friend and they're just so, you know, you have this beautiful relationship and they would never hold anything back from you. It's because if they did, they know you would give them grief about it. Well, I had a real good friend that says, hey, listen, I'm doing some things in Puerto Rico and you need to hear about this because there's significant tax advantages either by having a Puerto Rican-based business or by even moving there. So back in 2012, there was Puerto Rico established Act 20 and Act 22, 20 y 22. But what it does, one allows you to relocate a business or establish a business that does export services as an incentive for the Puerto Rican economy. And then the second one, Act 22, is about being an investor resident incentive. So these incentives have significant benefits to them. I want to talk about four things. One is going to be offering export services as an incentive to gain certain tax advantages, an investor resident incentive, what it is like to do residency, and then what life in Puerto Rico is actually like. Presently, Lynn, there have been well over 4,000 citizens in just the last few years that have transitioned from the mainland, the US, to establishing residency in Puerto Rico. And you know, it is a US territory. It's not about having to do a passport. Literally, Lynn, for everybody that's listening, think of it this way. You're a resident of Florida. You're a resident of Utah. Those are states. Well, all you're doing is transitioning, and now you're a resident of Puerto Rico. It's as simple as that. You know, having a house, apartment, driver's license for a certain number of days per year, and you're a resident. And here's what happens. When you offer export services, so for myself, InvestorComps is a business that I provide services on the mainland US, but also provide services to individuals, again, internationally. Either one, it doesn't just have to be US, it could be, you know, you offer services in whatever business activity you're doing that has allowed you to engage with MJ.com. And now you want to save on your taxes. So as you establish and put that business out there, you're able to reduce your S Corp tax rate from 20% as it presently is. And Lynn, you and I both know that rate's going to go up more than likely given the present administration. You can drop that rate to 10% and in some cases as low as 4%, that corporate tax rate. In addition to that, just by offering us a business and services through Puerto Rico without moving there, this is just establishing a business and offering those services off the island, you have the opportunity to reduce your dividend tax rate, anything you're currently earning dividends on, down to zero. So your extra passive income that you're making in dividends, you can reduce that tax to zero. This is like the biggest biggest investment account you can create just by reducing your taxes on the existing income that you're already making. It's phenomenal. Now, if you decide to do residency, it gets even better because then you add on other individual tax advantages as well as a 0% capital gain on any type of appreciation, whether it's hard assets like a resident, or if you're doing any type of investment in crypto. If your Bitcoin goes up, any gain that you have on that, there is no tax on that gain as a resident. So it's actually operating a business and doing export services or becoming a resident. Let me dig a little bit deeper. You operate remotely your export services to customers located outside of Puerto Rico. All you do then is pay yourself a reasonable salary. Just say, you pay yourself anywhere between, 75 to maybe 150,000 based on the volume of your business, your lifestyle, what you're doing. And then you distribute the rest of that income or profit that you've made down from 20% to about 10 to 4% as far as any kind of tax that you're going to pay from your export services.
Now let me interrupt, Mark. Let me interrupt with a question. So if you are exporting, it doesn't have to be physical goods. You can export online services.
There's all type of businesses that apply for this. InverstorComps is it doesn't make anything. It just provides training, valuation data, and a mastermind group to engage in. That qualifies as a business that can be operated out of Puerto Rico and provide services off the island. It's that simple.
What if I have an online platform, a .com, whatever it may be, and I am actually selling either content, information, and or goods or services, but on the mainland, but my business is registered in Puerto Rico? Does that qualify?
Absolutely, 100%. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And you mentioned residency. Do I need to have my butt in Puerto Rico a certain amount of days of the year for that? Or can I have an address as a business owner in Puerto Rico? Are there multiple ways to accomplish this?
Right. For the export services incentive, you do not have to physically live in Puerto Rico at all. You said it perfectly. Yes, you do have to have a business address that you operate and establish your S Corp in Puerto Rico for your consulting services, your advertising business, your marketing business, software development. If you're doing securities trading, that business will qualify. And again, I mentioned even just trading cryptocurrency. That is a export services incentive business that will qualify without having to physically live in Puerto Rico and drop your S Corp tax rate. You've got 100%. That's a great question to really kind of spread out the dynamic for all the listeners.
Let's say I'm into the cannabis stocks, right? And I want to set up an S Corp based in Puerto Rico, and I want to just invest in cannabis stocks in the stock market, and then I sell them for capital gains. I don't have to pay the U.S. capital gains tax on that?
No. Now, that one's going to be a residency. So we can get to that one. If you're a resident, then you get to the point where you don't have to pay the capital gains on the appreciation of the stock
But even if I have a business account investing in those stocks, like I'm an investment company and I open a company that invests in stocks, so it's not individual. Can I have a Puerto Rico investment company that trades those stocks?
Well, again, not the capital gains piece. The capital gains piece only comes if you establish residency in Puerto Rico. Exactly.
And is that 180 days in Puerto Rico? What's the residency limit there?
Well, let me switch. I'll go ahead and jump to that one. So on the residency part, again, you get to the point where you pay zero capital gains on appreciation after you relocate to Puerto Rico. And this, obviously, it's ideal for investors, retirees, or even traders, which is exactly what you're talking about. The requirement is 183 days. You have to be
physically
for 2
there.
years physically there. Now, here's one thing. 30 days of international travel actually goes towards your total count. So and it doesn't have to originate in Puerto Rico because you're a U.S. citizen. If you live in Florida and you catch a flight and you go to Germany for the summer, or Italy or France or whatever, and you spend 2 weeks, 21 days, 30 days in Europe, and then come back to the US, and then 3 weeks later you come back to Puerto Rico and continue your days on. If you do 160 days in Puerto Rico, but you're typically going to be traveling internationally for just lifestyle, whatever the case may be, those days, those additional 21, 30 days, maybe up to 193 days, 30 days, gives you, again, 160 plus 30, 193 days. That's your total number of days that you would get toward your residency in Puerto Rico. Because even being a U.S. citizen, just because you travel to outside the country, you don't lose your citizenship. And that's why that dynamic applies. You get 30 days that you normally would spend somewhere else outside the U.S. Here's the other thing too. If you're in Puerto Rico, well, just go over to Dominican Republic or go over to, well, the U.S. Virgin Islands wouldn't count because that's U.S. territory. So, but international travel, 30 days counts towards your 180 days. And that gets you your residency in Puerto Rico and all the tax advantages that come along with it.
Now, let me play devil's advocate with a tougher question for some people, because I know they're thinking this as they're listening. So,
okay.
During after the last hurricane, there was a lot of corruption in the government in Puerto Rico and crime and stuff like that. How has your experience been being there now? Has that been cleaned up? Is it a safe place to be? I'm sure people would have concern just based on media reports that they heard in the last few years.
I'm going to describe it this way, and I hope no one gets offended.
We're here to offend, Mark. It's okay. We offend everybody equally.
Oh, okay, well, there you go. Perfect. Well, I'm going to offend equally then. I used to live in New Orleans for a number of years, and I'm going to tell you, there is nothing that I've experienced in Puerto Rico that comes even close to corruption.
Yeah, you can pick you can pick almost any city in the United States now for that. Right.
Nothing even comes close. I have found all my experiences there. You got to have your eyes wide open. You want to work with good people. I'm very, very fortunate to have an excellent tax attorney, an excellent CPA. One of the things that has been a significant advantage is that I do have a relationship with a lobbyist attorney. And that helps because it is an island nation. I mean, there is no rush to do anything, okay? So if you do want to cut through and move things a little bit quicker, having that lobbyist attorney actually gets me to answers and things on somebody's desk quicker than if I were just to try to push it forward myself. So, but that's just to get the same speed that you and I were accustomed to, being Jersey and New York on the East Coast, stuff like that, because it is an island nation. So you have to understand the lifestyle, but there are great values to that lifestyle as well, because folks are just, your stress level, it just drops like 60% the moment you step off the plane when you get there, which I absolutely love. And highly recommend for as many people as I possibly
Absolutely.
can.
All right. So before we finish up, Mark, and first of all, thank you for all the valuable information. My brain is already going a million miles an hour thinking about it. Tell us about the event you have coming up this summer. What are the dates? What is the cost? What will people learn when they attend that event?
Absolutely. So InvestorComps, we hold a mastermind every single year. This is like our 8th or 9th year doing it. We decided to actually hold it in San Juan, Puerto Rico this year, July 22nd through 24th. It will be 3 days. The first day, we're going to be covering a number of real estate investing strategies, ideas, concepts, and there'll be a good bit of sharing between the panelists and stuff that we have there. The second day is going to be focused entirely on all the income protection, tax benefits of being and having a business in Puerto Rico. I'm bringing to the event my tax attorney, my lobbyist, my agent, my CPA, so that everyone will have complete exposure to the exact same assets that I use in Puerto Rico. So I'm just opening up my vault of trusted knowledge and individuals that advise me to everyone that attends. We are going to be at the Isla Verde Resort. It is absolutely beautiful property. And we'll be watching and dealing with all the dynamics of COVID practices to make sure everyone's safe and healthy as we continue to transition and open up into what we consider our new norm. Now, the third day is going to be just an opportunity to truly experience island life in Puerto Rico. We're going to spend the whole day just to go have fun and play. I've got a catamaran cruise for snorkeling and swimming. Food is included. Some libations will also be included, but it's just a fun day to go experience the outer barrier islands there in Puerto Rico. So we're going to work hard for 2 days, and then we're going to recover and play for a whole nother day while we're there in Puerto Rico. Again, it's going to be July 22nd through 24th. We will be holding it virtual as well, so you can live stream into the event. To come and be live, we're offering a discounted rate, $500 discount of only $29.97 to come and be live in Puerto Rico. You're going to want to arrive a day early because we are having an open bar taco night and a cash bar on the 21st. Just a beautiful setting out on the beach. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. And then if you want to pipe in and stream, that's only $597. Now you can go to InvestorComps.com, www.InvestorComps.com/mastermind/ and go ahead, see all the content, the details there, and then register and come and join us live if you really want to get the extra networking, what happens in the hallway, and certainly that wonderful time Saturday when we go out on a catamaran cruise, or get all the content you need as well. You'll be able to ask questions. It'll be interactive even if you come and stream in. And again, that's www.InvestorComps.com/mastermind/. And I will tell you the things that I've been able to learn, Len, in this walk in real estate, in these ideas of taking advantage of the tax benefits from Puerto Rico. It just gives me greater capacity to be further and more engaged with MJ.com and all that's going to come from that wonderful business opportunity that you presented to me a couple of years ago. So thank you so much for the opportunity to share, man. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And everybody out there, whether you're a cannabis business owner, whether you're a business owner of any kind, or just an investor, you just want to learn more about the things Mark said, we will have all the links for the podcast just below where you stream. Thank you, Mark Jackson, founder of InvestorComps, founder of America's Discount Home Deals. Thank you so much for being our guest today.
Absolute pleasure, Len. Lenny G, blessings and joy. We'll talk to you soon.
You got it. And we will see everyone next time on the Pot Live podcast. If you are into the recreational side of the cannabis industry, yes, stoners, I'm talking to you, then thepot.com is the online and mobile destination for you. That's right, THEPOT.com, thepot.com. Where else can you find the exclusive Pot Mate of the Month? Take a pot quiz and win prizes. Scroll through hilarious memes and jokes and check out the latest podcasts, news, and trends, all while having your own profile and voice in the pot.com forum. Visit thepot.com today and get lit.